Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
this screen you would have already seen, right? You would have already worked on this screen, seen this many times before. All of us have already worked on this MS Excel part, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So just to get an idea, so how much of this Excel do we know? So if you could rate yourselves as, as beginners, intermediate, or advanced in Excel, so where would you rate? Okay, beginners, intermediate, beginners. Right. So most of us are here intermediate and beginners, right? So I'll just start over. I'll just start over from the very basics of this Excel, right? So that we just everybody of us is on same page. So basically, this Excel as a tool we use, it is divided into these small chunks that you could see. You know, these small chunks that are being highlighted, the first, the second, the third. These are known as cells. So we call them as cells. So let's see, this is cell 1, this is your cell 2, this your cell 3. These are all your cells. And a cell is a combination of rows and columns. If you could see just at this place, this top place here, you know, this is that I'm currently at my third row. This cursor is at my third row and the first column. So we represent these rows, we represent these rows as 1, 2, 3, 4, and we represent these columns as A, B, C, D. And the cell is being denoted as, if I call as this cell, it is denoted as the column cross the row number. So if I am at this place, which is I and 8, so this will be my I8 cell. I'll be at I8th cell of my Excel sheet, right? Now, this Excel has some parts here. This is my file part, the home part. If I want to insert anything, if I want to take a page layout, formulas, data, many things are there when we talk about this Excel part. Now, this Excel, what this Excel helps us in is, this helps us in getting the data sorted, formatted, presented in a different way, to get insights from that data, to make that data speak volumes for you. But basically, this is my screen, which is very new. So I had one person who said that they are not familiar with this screen. So I'll just go through them. This is my cell. These are my columns and these are my rows. The rows, the columns, and the cell. Okay. This area where I have the clipboard written, this clipboard area helps me to cut, copy, and paste my data in any format. You know, here I can get my data copied. Here I can get my data pasted in different formats as an image, as a special character, as a special data, right? Then I have this fonts area, which is used to differentiate, which is used to work on fonts. Let's say I write my own name. I write Sahil here, and then this copy function, which is at the top here, the copy function helps me to copy this data, and I can just paste that data. I can paste that data anywhere. Here is the data that I have pasted. So this is what the first thing does. Now the second thing, which is there called as fonts. So these fonts can help me to bold this data, right? to italicize this, to underline this, right? And to do many more functions. So for those who are very beginners with Excel, my personal suggestion would be to learn Excel and to learn how the Excel works and what is the basic functionality of Excel. You should go and check each of these tabs one by one. Write up anything in the cell and see what, after clicking this data, happens to this tab. Now let's say there is this, I can just change it to any different way, any different font. I can change the, the size of this font, how big I want it. I can change or fill the cell color, what color I want to fill it in. I can just change the text color. I can increase and I can decrease the font. This is what happens in this section. Now the next section, which is the alignment section, it helps me to align my data. Let's say this data is going up, this data is in center, and this data is, let me do one thing just to give you a better idea of this, right? So now see, if I yeah, so see, now if I see the Sahil is written here and I have taken it upside, in the middle, and bottom. So wherever you want to put this is being done by this. This is your, as in word you have, right? Yeah. I can center align it. I can left align, right align. I can do alignment of this, right? Now, the very next to these alignments is we can increase and decrease, you know, the indents to make it closer to the cell, to make it farther from the cell. Let's say this is making it a bit closer to the cell. It is justified right now. This happens that how do I want to place the angle of this? Clockwise, anti-clockwise, vertical, horizontal, whatever I want to place it in. We'll just keep it like this. The next thing is, now understand what the next thing will do. The next thing is called a wrap text. Now the wrap text, it helps wrapping up a large text. Let's say I have this space and I write it as Sahil is taking a business analytics workshop, right? Now I just want to wrap this up. I don't want it to be such bigger. I want to wrap this text up. Yeah. So what I will do is I'll just go and wrap it. So what it does is it just wraps it up into a smaller area, the area that you define. Now let's say I just close the cell a bit, right? So it just wraps this very well into the data. Then another thing is there, merge and center. It's called as merge and center. As the name suggests, it will merge up the cells and center line them. So let's say I am working on a data which says something like this, that I have a serial number, I have a name, I have subjects which can be math, science, social science, and environmental science. Now see, this name column can be there, you know, but the data is very unevenly placed. I cannot have this, because if I write a serial number here and a name like Sahil here, then this data has no sense. What is one Sahil math science EVS? you know so I need to just do something that will make this data a bit more clear. So what I will do is, I will take these two cells and merge them. Cool. So now I have a serial number here. I'll merge these cells again. The name cell I'll also merge, right? I'll merge the subject cells. You can do this vertically as well as horizontally, right? The subject cells are here, and I can just put this up as this. you know well, I'm taking this as a very vague example, but this is just to show you the functionality, right? So now I can do this as one, right? And then the XYZ things, though it is the same that I did earlier also. But this is what tells you about the merge and center property of the Excel, right? Okay. So the next one is the number, right? So when you write here any number, let's say I have this number written here, what it happens is, this will put a dollar sign, this will make this number as a percentage, this will help to add and reduce the decimal points, decimal points here and decimal points there. Then you can go into this and take it as a general number, and there are n number of things. You have n number of ways to align your data. Let's say you're working with a date. You write first you write first Jan 2021. So you can write it like this, or you can go into the date formats, long date, and you get Friday, January 1st, 2021. Or you can just short it like this, 1/1/2021. Or you can also have a custom format. When you go, so how you reach here is, you go there, more number formats, and you are dealing with dates. So you have all these formats here. Just show me the month and the year. Okay, January 21 was the month and year. So if you go much more deeper, you want to know the time also, you can do this, 12 a.m. when the day started, right? This is what these number formats can do. So you can also do it for, currencies, dates, times, percentage, fraction, scientific things, text, and there are many other things also, right? Now, when we talk about data and when we start dealing with it, you know, we need to understand that this Excel sheet can get messy. It can get messy, and it can get messy when lot of data is there. Let's say I have this data for you now. I have just prepared this data set. These are serial numbers, dates, order IDs, product, salesman, region, how many customers they have, the net sales, the profit and loss they make, many things like this. And these are somewhere around 200 entries. Now, if I want to analyze this data, now this is a very small data, let me tell you, just 200 people. And let's say this data gets multiplied by 10 and it gets out to be a 2000 person data, or maybe 20,000. Then to analyze it, you need to be very clear and you need to be very cautious while making anything out of this. Now, when we talk about handling this data, the first thing is you can, what you can do, till the things that we have learned, we can just, what? We can just design this data. We can just make it more presentable. We have learned nothing about learning what and how to do on this data, right? We have just learned what we can do with this data. Now, see, if I go back to my blank sheet, I have another thing here, which is called as the formula bar. This is known as the, I'll write it here. This is called as the formula bar. So any formula in Excel would be, you know, can be written out here. And let me tell you, all the formulas in Excel are always started with an equal to sign, right? Okay. All the formulas in Excel are always started with an equal to sign. Just make this a point. Okay. So let me just get here and tell you also that in this tab here, formula tab, you have many formulas that we'll be using in the later part of this, in the later part of the session. So till now, let me, all those who were beginners at this, till now, whatever we have learned in this session on Excel beginning, what all can we do on this? What all can we do on this sheet? So let's just get into the crux of things, that what all can we do on this sheet? Anybody? Like whatever the functions that we saw, make it in font and alignment, what can be used here? Or the numbers, we have seen till this part.
Uh, we can do all the mathematical things, addition, subtraction.
Yeah, we can do addition, subtraction, we can do on this data. What else? Because those are all formula things, so we will just get on to those. Till now we have studied about just the fonts. We can just change the fonts, to make this data a bit presentable. We can change the fonts. We can align the data, which is already, it is already aligned. We can change the number formats as per my need, and we can just work on this data. So anything that you, as your suggestions, what can we do on this?
Sorting the data, net sale wise, profit and sales wise. So
Yes,
it
we
gives
can
more
sort.
clarity.
Yeah, we can sort it. We can sort it. We can sort. We can filter this data. We can work on those things. So the very first thing, that when we deal with data analytics, for a period, of say 6 months, when you work on data analytics, let me tell you this way, that when you work on data analytics for the first 6 months, you know these excels, when they present it to you, your people or your team, when they present this excels for you, right, these are very good. You love those excels, you love sorting these excels, you love filtering those data to get drilling out things. But then the things get monotonous. When the same excel will come to you again and again, again and again, in the same format, this black and white format, the thing, what will happen to you is that you will start getting, you know very bored of those excels. And then your analytic skills would also be challenged. Now definitely we can sort this data, we can do editing on this data, we can filter this, We can, as Anthony sir said, that we can use this data to do additions, subtractions, multiplications. We can use mathematical functions. Those are the things that we do when we start analyzing the things. The first thing is very easy and very basic. You say it would be a very, a kindergarten kind of a thing. You could make this data very well presentable. So how you can do it is, you can choose on that I'll just take on this and I'll give it something like this, and all my data would be highlighted like this. I'll put up something here and many basic things like these. I'll just put up a border. So this is, I didn't tell you this. This tab here is used for borders. So I'll use some thick borders outside. I'll also use some thick borders here just to make these, a bit more presentable. Now, when we do all these stuff, then comes the time that we format this data. We format this data, and when we format this data, we format it in such a way that merely just looking at this data, so merely just looking at this data, I could just get some insights out of it. So how that can be done is, that is done through a tool called as conditional formatting. You are absolutely right. We can do all these things. Let's say we can sort this data by net sales, as you said. We can sort it. So now we have with us the data in sorted format, that the major net sales are here, right? And the things are here. Who is doing this? And we can filter this data. We can do anything onto this, but let us first understand how we do conditional formatting. So sorting and all is okay when you are dealing with many smaller kind of data chunks. You can sort and see, but see what happens when you sort it. It also gets realigned because this data is very complex. This data is very complex because it involves regions, it involves persons, it involves products. These are n number of things which are interlinked with this data. So conditional formatting, when it comes with something which we called as, let's say what I will do is, I'll put up a conditional formatting. So what conditional formatting does, when we start analyzing the data, as you said, we can sort this as per uh, you know as per the higher sales. The person who has done higher sales, I can just sort it up. But visual appearance of the data, and just merely looking at that data and telling that these are my action points, is very critical when you do analytics of things. You can do n number of things. You can sort it, filter it, you can add more formulas to it, get the data, speak. But as long as the data is taking time to be again read, that analysis will go down the drains. So what we do is, we do very quick kind of analytics. Let's say I just want to know who are the people who have higher net sales, and I just fix up that I just want to put up a conditional formatting here. So here I go to the conditional formatting. I'll highlight the cells which are greater than, let's say, I have a level of, I'll just put it up as, let's say 2 and 2, right? I have 2, put it in up here, fill it with green color, right? And I just put enter. and bang. These are the people in my data who have scored better net sales. I don't need to sort it. Or then I can also, when you said this, I can only sort these data with color. A mix of things, custom sort. You can sort it by different levels. Sort columns by, wait. Sorry. Yeah, here I have it. I put 2222 and I again put up a custom less than 2222. Right, back. And here I have my data ready. So all the red points are my actionables and all the green ones are my performers that have performed very well, right? So this is very, very simple, this is what very basic of the things in conditional formatting we do. After that, we also have something called as top and bottom rules. That what are the top 10 items? What are the top 10 percentiles? What are the bottom 10 percentiles? Let me show you that as well. Here we have, I'll do it on the profits column now. I'll conditionally format it as just give me the top 10 items and fill them with green color and bang. Here are my top 10 people who are there. Then you can also very well select only these 10 people out of the lot, right? Now, if I again tell you, then there are data bars out in there. What data bars help you with is to understand who's performing how, just to visualize this data at ease. You have color scales just to tell you who's performing how. One thing and you are sorted. Put it in your data and you're done. See, this is, it'll give, higher green color to the higher numbers and red color to the lower colors. Then you have icon sets. You can put this and you can not only put this, and you can also, hard code it that above which value would you like to show that this thing has improved and below which value this thing is stagnant. So let's say I take a cut that I put it like this. I again go to conditional formatting and manage rules, and I decide that I want to edit this rule. So what I want to edit this rule for is, okay, so basically when you start it, it generally takes it as 6733 rule. So what is 6733 rule? It is that the higher 67 percentile of the data would be shown as an upper arrow, and the 33 and below would be shown as the, when the value is greater or equal to 67 percentile, it will show it as up. When it is lesser than 67 and there 33, it will show it as lower. So what we will do is, those who have scored 70 percentile above will be shown up. Okay. Those who have scored only 30% would be, or 33%, I'll take it, will be shown as this. Okay. I'll put up an okay. So 33% of the people who are here will be shown as growing, declining, stagnant, like this. Okay. You can create your own rules. You can create some new rules, whatever you have in your mind. That's all your imagination, that's all your way of working, how you want to create a report, how you want to display that report to somebody. You know, all those things can be done. Another very important thing when you deal with this data, charts are more easy to understand than the whole data. So why don't we just do this, or Ravi and this, and we go to insert, we go to charts, it's showing me this, and I'll choose it. Here I have my chart. So I see here on the y-axis I have my sum of profit and loss, and here I have my salesman. It's very easy to understand that Sahil has scored very good sales, and it's being followed by, yeah, Rahul. Then it is being followed by some Geeta, and then Ravi, Ria, and very easily. And if you want to understand it like here, you could sort this, or here, sorry. Let us sort it here. Here you go. In the order of declining sales. So I know these two people, Rohit and Ria, I need to work on them. We need to work on their sales strategies, their sales things. Similarly, you can get any number of charts through this data, you know. Yeah. So let's come back to our main sheet. Then another thing that you can do in conditional formatting is, you see, net sales are like given like this. So what I can do is I can go to conditional formatting. I can, one second, I'll just choose not in conditional formatting, but I'll go in numbers. I'll go in numbers and I'll choose numbers as something like this. So it has just reduced the additional things. You can also customize this. You can customize this as custom, right? And okay. So all the figures that were there would get customized for you, right? So all these things you can do on your data. Every aspect of these things can help you in presenting this data very much clearly. Now, another thing that you can put up through this is, let's see, we'll put up different charts onto here. Just a second. Yeah. So all these things, when we talk about these in Excel. So there you can get many different charts, you can get many different reports, you can get column wins, anything that you want. Okay, just a sec, guys. Yeah. So as I was telling you that we can use these data, I just went out to grab some water. Yeah. So now we'll be going on to explore in detail what we were calling as actually the functions. So we'll have some different areas that we'll be studying now. We'll be studying some custom functions. We have studied the formatting kind of things. Now we'll understand what functions are. Okay. So functions basically deal with many different aspects when you talk about, right? Uh, just a second, I'll share my screen with you guys. Yeah. So guys, I hope my screen is visible here. Yeah. Uh, So when we talk about formatting and functions, we have many different functions. We studied formatting and now we'll understand what functions are. So anybody of you who has some idea what functions are? What a function is? Uh, Anthony's a very in the very beginning told you about addition, subtraction. So what those things are? Anybody? Okay. So functions basically deal with getting mathematical inputs onto your data and then getting something out of it. Let's say when we have huge and complex data sets, we work on those data sets and we start exploring those data sets and getting some insights out of it. And if I talk about two main things that we have already studied, formatting and conditional formatting, the next thing that just to sum up those two things, we'll say that a format, when we talk about a format, it is helping us in what getting the data into a particular way. Then it also helps us to easily make the data readable. It also helps me to present my data effectively. And what formatting does is it helps me to visually explore and analyze my data. It helps me to detect critical issues. Let's say I had, the whole 200 list of people. I could just dig down that these red ones are my action points. I don't need to see all the data, right? Then I have another thing which is called as to identify patterns and trends. So we use it in conditional formatting. Now, if I you see we have seen all those things to get a thing green, to make it information very critical and very visually appealing using all these signs and symbols. Now when we talk about functions, we talk about calculations, we talk about mathematics into the Excel, and this is the root of all your analysis. All your business analysis is based on these smaller chunk of formulas. Now, you can remember some basic formulas, and some advanced level formulas are already there in the Excel. But at and above those levels, when you deal with high and complex data, when you deal with data which require more than one basic formula, then it's all your engineering, then it's all your brain, then it's all your brain child's, you know, that what you create as a formula. A formula has a format that you have to follow, but what you get out of those formulas is there for you, is going to decide what you do with your analysis, right? So if we talk about basically Excel, we have majorly components which are called as logical formulas, the statistical formulas, and then the mathematical formulas. If we talk about mathematical formulas, they tell us the basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and all those things. The statistical one involves all the statics into it. Like you can calculate the mean, you can calculate the mode, the median, the average. What is the average of these things? You can go for quartile, percentile, all those things into the statics. Then there are logical formulas. Okay. Then there are very logical formulas like I put up ifs, I put up ands, I put up ors, I rank it. Then there are some custom name formulas which are logical in sense that if a person has XYZ sales, I rank him as one, who I rank it as two, all those things. Now, Excel not only involves these basic formulas, it involves many different formulas which are there, such as auto sum. There, there is date and time formulas. There are maths and trigonometric ratio formulas. There are financial formulas. There are texts. There are lookups and references. There are logical things. All those are put up. All those are combined in the basic of our Excel pack. Now, these formulas can be used to make up a basic operation or a complex operation. It can help us to devise a basic calculation. Let's say I have a very smaller data that I need to sum up. I can use a basic mathematical function. Or if I have a complex formula, I can use it for the complex things. Basically, what in functions is there for us, it is that it helps us. It helps us to understand what a data is speaking of, right? What the data after application of those logical functions, after application of those statistical functions, after application of those mathematical functions is in it for us. The formatting, as we already know, helps us to format the data, values, anything to make it much more presentable, right? Now we'll go and understand how we will be this. We have already conditional formatting done. Now we'll understand how we can work on with the data and how we can work on to as how these calculations are being done, right? So color schemes, these all have been done.
You're not audible, sir.
Hello. Yeah, is it okay now?
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Okay. So I was speaking about the logical functions. So logical functions, basically what they do is they take up a logical test condition and they check the reference data for it and they just return ones and zeros, true or false. Okay. So if I say that if the data is greater than 5, result me a true, else result me a false. This is what our logical condition will give you. Then there are many logical functions like there is if, there is and, there is or, there is not. These are all logical functions. Then we have statistical functions. These are median, standard deviation, sum ifs, quartile, count ifs, percentile. All these functions help us to analyze the data. Now I'll talk about more of these when we do the practical things. Okay. Then there is a bigger part which I'll save for tomorrow. Those are called as pivot tables, right? Because this pivot table needs a very detailed discussion before, and you need to have your hands strong on the basic Excel so that we can work on with pivot tables. I'll keep it for tomorrow. Today we'll cover all those, statistical functions and all the different functions and how they work on, right? I'll just get back to my Excel sheet and I'll just share it with you. Yeah. So now what we are going to understand is some functions, right? We'll study some if functions. We'll study a not. We'll study basically auto sum, which is very easy. Addition, subtraction, multiplication. All these functions we'll be covering up. So I don't know if you guys have your laptops with you. Do you guys have your laptops with you?
No, sir.
No. Okay. That's totally okay. For the tomorrow session, just keep your laptop so that we can work on some exercises to get it much more clear. Okay. So today I'll just show you basics of what these functions can do. Okay. Not on this bigger part of data. We'll do it on the bigger part of data also. Just see. Let's say I have some data like I have this amount, right? So see, what my function does is very basic thing. I do an addition function first. Okay. Yeah. Now see, as we decided that 21 customers gave me a net sales, right? A net sale of this from 21 customers. So I just want to know what was my average sale per customer. How can I get